I think that's my cue. I think that's my cue to begin. Welcome actors. Actors, I'm going to open the session firstly by saying a huge thank you to Actor Spaces and Actor Spaces leader, Ayanda Siteba, and his team for making this, this opportunity possible for us to share and for us to gather as actors in this very challenging time that we all find ourselves in. I also want to say a huge thank you to the Gauteng Film Commission and to the Tasha Smith Actors Workshop. So thank you so much to all of those that contributed to this moment. Actors, I know as people are gathering and coming in, I would like to open the session with a moment's breathing, which I'm going to stand to in just a moment, and I'm going to invite you to join me. We're going to spend just a few minutes to breathe deeply. Actors, you know that to breathe deep is to bring ourselves present, and it is it's a powerful resource in our actor craft. And at the same time, actors, it is also a very necessary thing right now in our world. I want to encourage you to breathe deep, and I'm going to share one breath, which I'm going to ask you to do as often as you can. So I'm going to share with you in a moment, and yeah, to try and do 10 in the morning and 10 at night and any time in between, because to exercise our lungs right now and to keep them working and breathing deep in gratitude for breath and life is really important. So on that note, actors, I'm now going to ask you to stand. So wherever you are, please jump up on your feet. I'm going to try and project because I'm going to stand up onto my feet for a moment. So I'm going to keep bending so that you can see me, but I'd like you to just stand wherever you are, and I want you to wiggle your toes in your shoes. So wherever you are, just wiggle your toes in your shoes and feel today's earth underneath your feet. Draw yourself into this present moment. And I'm going to ask you now to cross your palms with your palms facing downwards. So you're going to cross your midline and you're going to cross your palms. And now, actors, you are going to breathe in deeply through your nose. So here we go. I'm going to bend so you can see me. So here we go. We're going to breathe. And now you're going to breathe in even more. And as you open up your arms, I want you to hold that breath, hold that breath, hold that breath. And now turn your palms down towards the ground and push the breath gently out through your mouth. All the way out, 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 crossing over your palms. Stay there for a moment in the collapse. And here we go, breathe. And breathe it in more. And open, open, open into that space, holding that breath. And now turn your palms down towards the earth and breathing it out through your mouth. Breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out. All the way, out, out. Breathing it all out. And cross the midline, cross those palms. And here we go. And breathe more. and open, 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 and turn the palms and breathe it out through your mouth and let it all go, let it all go, let it all out, let it all out. Feel the collapse of the lungs. Stay there for a moment and breathe it in. Here we go, breathe. And more. And open, and open, and open, and turn the palms, breathe it out through the mouth. So now we're going to do 2 more together without me talking. Here we go. Well done, actors. For those that have just joined us, we were beginning the session with a little bit of breathing, and I encourage you to exercise that breath. That is one of many, but I offer it to you. It's known as the heart expansion breath. And as you can feel, as you breathe in through your nose and you lift up your arms, you can really feel those lungs, the wings of your lungs opening up. And breathe in as much as you can. And then hold that breath, hold that breath, hold that breath. And then turn the palms down to the floor and release the breath out through the mouth. Cross the midline and really let go. So let all of that breath, all of that last residue in the lungs, really exercise the bottom of the lungs and then breathe it in again. And thank you, God, for breath. So on that note, actors, I now step us into what today's session is going to be all about, and I'm going to set my timer so that I can be as effective in the time that we have together. Actors, we work today with a tool known as Think, Do, Feel. And I firstly want to say, actors, that there are no rules about acting. There are no absolute rights and wrongs, right? But there are principles. There are principles that we know support the actor, support, empower, channel, grow, enable the actor to exercise. So I want you to know that this tool that I offer up to us today is one tool. It's not the tool, the only tool, the right tool, right? It's one of your resources that you can certainly put into your actor toolbox, and I will encourage you to exercise. Actors, the thinking behind Think, Do, Feel really originates with the American method school of acting. So it's by no means mine. I don't own it. I share it and offer it to you for it to be used, exercised, and transformed in your own work. But it began really with the method actors, and often in the American context, it's referred to as actioning. I call it Think, Do, Feel because it really helps me and constantly reminds me what the tool is about. And really what this tool speaks to actors is that our challenge as actors is that characters always begin in a script. We always have words. Text is where we first discover our characters. And so the challenge for the actor is, how do we absorb these words on a page and create living, breathing human beings for our audiences to engage with and enjoy? And of course, they begin enrich our scripts. And what I mean by enriching the script, actors, is the script is the blueprint, right? We know that we discover the character in the script. And in kind of classic Stanislavski term, what's known as the given circumstance. And what that really means is what has been given, right? So that's the character emerges from that ground. We have to build from the ground up. And so we have to build from inside that script. So the first part of our work is really trying to understand what is this story? What is this story about? Who is this story for? And how does the character that I am beginning to meet, how do they configure in the story? So when I say the given circumstance, I encourage you, actors, to read and read in detail and to read with, when I say detail, with research. And by that I mean is whether the brief, actors, I know sometimes it might be for a commercial audition and the brief may be like way big and they might be only just a few lines of text, or indeed it might be some sides for an audition, or it might be an episode, it might be a full-length narrative. Whatever it be, actors, firstly, read your briefs and read your scripts. And read first for understanding, right? So you're wanting to find that detail. I'm going to say, actors, I want you to guard against the trying to memorize too quickly. Okay, so part of what think, do, feel is, I'm with the think part at the moment, right, is to read for understanding, right? Because words are just words on a page until we start to understand the thinking and the way in which these words configure for the character and in the story. So when I say given circumstance, actors, I say that's your ground. And there's a wonderful American acting coach called Larry Moss who encourages actors to be like detectives. He's like, firstly, before we can start to make creative, interpretive choices, we've got to mine in to get the details, right? So as I say, whether the brief is like this or you get quite a nice full treatment, first read to pull out those details, because as actors, that's what we need. We need those details, right? And I encourage you, actors, to, if you can read the full episode, please do. If you can read the full script, please do, wherever you can. I know a lot of the time, actors, we, certainly for auditions, we're getting maybe just a few sides and a little bit of brief. And indeed, I'm going to speak to that at the close of the session. Because then that asks for our creative imagining, and we've got to fill in the spaces that we perhaps were not provided with. But when we do have the opportunity, actors read, because the details, remember the story, that little scene that you might be part of, it forms part of a seamless story eventually that the editor creates if it's on screen. And to know what the character's world is, to know what's happened before and what's going to happen afterwards, is going to inform the way you are going to embody this character, and it's going to strengthen your work. And it's going to strengthen what I'm going to say a few times, actors, which is the actor's contribution. And to me, the actor's contribution is their ability to take words on a page and to breathe life into them, to interpret them, to filter them through their imaginings, their researches, their memories, their perceptions, their hearts, right? And to create living characters for us. That is at the fundament of what the actor's contribution is. And I'm going to encourage you, actors, in this session to make creative choices, right? But we can't make creative choices, right, until we've got some of the detail. So, as I say, I just want to really affirm that, actors, that we want to get underneath the words, so don't memorize too fast. Okay, so that's the important part of think, right? You want to read for understanding. You want to start to try to find the internal logic, right? Why does this character say what they do, right? Oh, and why do they respond like that? Right? Why do they use those words as opposed to, right? And of course, actors, that applies to any and every language that you might encounter as actors. In a few moments, we're gonna watch two actors at work, and often will say to the actors, okay, let's translate, because I do need to name for all of you actors that one of the most extraordinary capacities of the South African creatives is that you are multilingual, right? You are moving between languages, and so I named that actors to say that whilst unfortunately my medium of expression is only English, I'm not very yeah, not very good with the other languages, certainly not to be able to teach in. But want you to know, actors, that whilst I'm speaking in English, everything I'm saying, I'm talking to the principles of our craft, right? And principles apply to every language that we speak. And we want to find the detail in whichever language our character is speaking, right? So if you encounter a word you don't understand, or you encounter a concept that you don't know anything about, or your character's talking about diamond cutting, right? And you've never seen anything about diamonds, right? We've got to do the research, right? We've got to go and have a look at, like, wow, right, that's how a diamond's cut, right? Or that word is, I now understand what it means. Never feel shy that you may not understand or know a word or not understand. There's so much that we don't know. But we need that information, actors, because I'm going to say this a few times, actors. If you don't know what you're saying, then I, as the audience, don't know what you're saying, right? To internalize thinking, their internal logic, right? Because that's what is true. And audiences read truth. I'm also going to suggest, actors, that the camera reads thought, right? It reads the character's thinking. And the fact that you're thinking, the audience starts filling in with what that character is thinking, right? And they may not be thinking, they don't know exactly what you're thinking, right? But the fact that you're thinking, they start thinking too, right? And they start filling in the spaces. So if there's any magic in performance, right, part of it is that, right? That incredible ability for audiences to connect with story, not just with our minds, but with our hearts, right? So it becomes a very full and immersive experience. But in order for that to be communicated to an audience, actors, you need to have your own understanding. So that's the think part, right, of think, do, feel. So I gather to say, don't memorize too quickly. And when I say don't memorize, read the script a few times, right? Try to get your head around the logic and the thinking of the character, right? Research and look up whatever you don't understand. And of course, actors, detailed thinking begins to stimulate your imagining, right? Because as you start to think in detail, you start to, right? You start to see it. You start to activate your ability to imagine in detail, right? To visualize in detail. So we need that detail, actors, because if it's feeling too kind of vague and a little general and kind of wide open, right? Well, then you can't immerse yourself potently, intensely into the character, right? Because the character's feeling like a line drawing, right? Like a stick figure. And whilst, of course, at the beginning, when you're first meeting the character in the script, it might well feel like you're pulling out a skeleton, right? And you're going to layer that character until they become a full-bodied person, right? That's the actor's contribution. But I encourage you to find and to work for the details, because as I say, the details of thinking will begin to create detailed visualization. The more that you see it, the more you will commit to it, right? The more that you commit to it, the more potently you can inhabit, right? The world of the character. So it doesn't matter if the camera is like way here, right? Because you are in that character's thinking and you are present to the character, right? So before I step further into that, actors, I'm going to suggest that detailed thinking propels behavior, right? So I'm going to ask Ayanda now for us to look at a clip of an actor at work with me. I want to say thank you so much to Mary-Lou Boyson for allowing me to share a moment of her work in session. But I think it's whilst I obviously can't go into a lot of detail and so you can't see the full process, but I want you to see you're going to see Mary-Lou working with two pieces of text, and I'm going to be offering her some direction. I will speak back to that once you've watched the clip, and then we'll also watch the lovely Titus Mekwe, who's also going to just, you're both actors. I am so thankful for their sharing, because often as actors, guys, we once we see it, you start to clock it. Okay, so thank you so much, Ayanda. If we can look at Mary-Lou's take. Okay, here. Thank you so much, Mary-Lou. Right, here we go. I don't, okay, yeah. Okay, got it. Good, perfect. I'm here. Okay, I want you to ask me as if I'm a child, a little person. Come here. Well done. Now I want you to order me. Come here. Well done. Me. Order me. Come here. Well done. Now I want you to blame me. If you know I've done something wrong, I have just, right? Come here. That's beautiful. Time goes so fast. Well done. I'd like you to translate that. De tijd vliegt. De tijd vliegt. Well done. I want you to make small talk. We're sitting in the waiting room and the time is going so slowly. De tijd vliegt. Beautiful. Now I want you to regret. Okay. Speak to me. You're telling me that you regret. Beautiful. Now I want you to let me in on a secret. That's beautiful. Great. Okay, so actors, I'm just going to break down for you what you were seeing there. So there, actors, what happened? Thank you so much, Mary-Lou. What happened there was that I gave the actor a text line, right? So the first text line was "come here," right? That was the first text line. So as I said, we meet pieces of text. So there was the actor's text line, "come here." And then I'm sure you noticed what I did was I then offered the actor 3 different directions. You might have noticed, actors, that those were all actions. They were all doing words, right? To ask, to blame, to order, right? So they were doing words or a little phrase of doing, right? So firstly, I want to acknowledge that actors, one of the beautiful capacities in the actor that I witness every day as a teacher is the actor's actors, you receive and accept the proposal, right? So you can see there's Marilu. She's not in any way kind of, blocking the direction or resisting it in any way. She receives it, and immediately she receives it. So I just name that, actors, because that's something that you all do all the time. Your ability to receive the offer, right? So that's firstly what Marilu was doing. She receives the offer, and then she takes that thinking to ask, and there I sort of say, I kind of filled it a little bit and said to ask as if you're asking like a little person, right? So she absorbed that thinking, and you could see that that thinking then is propelled into the way in which she says the line, right? Because it's like she's speaking to somebody little, and there's her vocal intent follows her thinking, right? And of course, if we were able to watch her even closer, we would have seen her eyes moving and shifting, because her eyes are softer, because it's a little person she's speaking to. When she then is asked to order somebody, right, there's a whole different tone, right? Because she's ordering somebody. The character now has a status and is now ordering that person to come, right? And then I said to blame, right? So as if I'd done something wrong. I had done something wrong, and she was now asking me to come here, but knowing that in some way she was going to be punishing me or something, right? But can you see there, actors, in each instance, there is the thinking, right? In a very simple way, there is the thinking, which is now being absorbed by the actor and then is being propelled into what they do, right? So what I'm suggesting, actors, is that it's often by making detailed choices in your thinking and understanding that propels the character's behavior, right? And when I say behavior, actors, I'm not necessarily, when I say the do part of think, I'm not saying you've got to kind of like, you've got to be doing, right? I don't mean that. Sometimes perhaps that's what's needed. But I want you to know, actors, that really thinking is an action, right? So even just those tiny little micro expressions, what I call them, those little expressions that the camera loves, right? Which are born out of the character's thinking, right? The character's thinking, and as they think, their eyes harden or shift and move, right? As their thinking is then propelled into what it is they're wanting to communicate. I just want to also note, actors, that often when I said to the actor, speak to me, right? Speak to me. Really, what I'm saying there, and I'm encouraging the actor to share their choice. Okay, so that's really what I'm going to always encourage any actor to say. Of course, the internal logic and thinking which is propelled into the behavior, right? Ultimately, you want to share it, right? You want to share it with the camera, right? Because the camera needs to find that thinking, because behind the camera is the audience. So often we'll encourage actors to be brave in their thinking. Be brave. Let that thought, share that thought, right? And what I mean by that, that's an internal belief in yourself to back your choice, right? Give it a go. And what I want you to notice there, actors, is that there were 3 choices made on one line in less than a minute, right? Then the actor was then given, Marilu then got, time goes so fast. She then translated it into Afrikaans, right? Just then and there, right? That amazing capacity of South African actors, their ability just to translate just like that, right? And then again, I offered up 3 different actions, right? Again, there were different thinkings that are, when I say doing words, they are intended, right, to encourage the actor to think and allow that thinking to translate into their behavior. So, of course, the first was a little sequence. I said, right, you're making small talk, right? Being in the waiting room for an age, and right, you're time goes so fast, right? And then I said to her to regret. right? And so you saw she immediately kind of shifted into trying to source her regret, to regret, and used the line to communicate that thinking. And then we shifted it and to let us in on a secret, right? As if she had a secret about typing so fast, right? And there she did again. So I want you to see there, actors, that there were 6 different choices made in kind of, less than a few minutes. And I want to encourage that, actors. I do believe that as in our actor craft, we've got to exercise our ability to create detailed thinking, right? That is going to help us to make detailed choices. And I want to encourage you to make choices, actors, and I want to encourage you to exercise your ability to make choices. Because sometimes actors will say to me, no, I just go into that audition quite blank, like not really making any sort of choice about anything, because then I wait to see what the director's going to offer. And I'm scared sometimes that if I go in there and I've made the wrong choice, that, you know what I mean? Like, ooh, right? I want to reframe that, actors, and I really want you to encourage you to make a choice, and in exercising your ability to make choices, you grow in your confidence to be able to say, let me present this choice, right? I've done my research about this character. This is who I think they are, right? As I've built the layers of this character, and go into that audition or into that work making your contribution. That's what you do. You embody this character, right? Nobody else is making this character come to life. You are. So dare to make choices. Be brave to that. And know that, oh, wow, you can make a different choice, right? Actually, having done that research and having enriched the text with your choices and your understanding of character, oh, indeed, you walk into this environment, and now that you're on set and you partner with the environment, you partner with your fellow actor, oh, wow, there's a whole lot of new choices and possibilities opening up for you. Well, that's great, right? So make those new choices. Keep encouraging your ability to do that, right? As opposed to kind of being sort of blank. And actors, if you make one choice and the director goes, oh wow, that was really interesting, or right, or could you try this, or could you try it like that, right? Sometimes you might need to just spend a moment just to get the thinking behind what it is they're suggesting. So you give yourself a moment just to understand, remember, work for that understanding, and then go, oh yeah, let me give that a go, let me give that a try, right? And as I say, actors, from my teaching with actors, I am just dazzled by the ability of the actor to make so many choices, right? In different languages, they're choosing, they're making, right? That's what actors do. So what's lovely about this tool is that it does encourage you to exercise, right? To exercise, right? To ask, to order, to blame, right? To accuse, to test, to defy, to praise, to pray, to flirt, right? There's hard to demolish, right? To cut somebody down, to battle, right? To rescue, to save, to right? There are as many actions as there are words, right? And I do love that Stella Adler, who is one of these method teachers who really pioneered actioning as a tool for actors, she said it's in your choices. Your talent often lies in your ability to make choices that fire you up, right? That help you to make a bridge in your understanding between you and the character. So I call that building bridges, because I like the actor to think, number one, the character's always their own person, right? There is no line drawing stick person in the world, right? Everybody is an individual. And so the actor wants to accord the character with the respect of that individuality. And in so doing, builds a bridge between themselves and the character, right? So the building of the bridge is, yes, gathering from your script, researching, understanding, trying to find thinking that connects. And Stella Adler suggests that make choices that, right, help you, help. Let me try it like that. Oh, let me try it like that. Let me try it like this. Let me try, oh, right? And in that playful exploration and exercise, you find something lands, right? You suddenly go, whoa, right? I want to use an example of something just quickly, actors, which I just loved the other day. We were working in a kind of interrogation scene, right, between a man and a woman. I'm not going to go into the details, but one of the actions we played around with for the actors, I said to him, so to prowl, right, to prowl, right. Now, of course, he wasn't actually like as a leopard, kind of crawling and prowling around, but he was quite, this was an exciting possibility to play with, right? So I could see that to prowl started to create a whole bridge into this character, because suddenly, yeah, he started to circle, he started to size her up. It started to become incredibly dangerous. He started to really activate his smell, right? It became quieter and more threatening. It was like he was kind of lining her up, right, for him to pounce, and it was terrifying, right? So what I mean is that there we were just playing with some possibilities, and one of them landed, and from there became a whole very exciting, very dangerous interaction between these two characters. So actors, I'm going to encourage you to do that. So before I continue any further, Ayanda, may I ask us, can we look at the clip with Titus, please? Thank you so much, Titus, again for your contribution.
No,
well done. I want you to translate. Well done. So give me a little bit more voice there. Well done. I want you to accuse me. You know I know. Well done. Now I want you to test me. Like you think I know. You're almost sure that I know, but you're not quite sure.
Why are you taking
You've given me more voice. Such a beautiful. Well done. Back your choice. And again, test me.
Why are you taking
Well done. Now I want you to share a joke.
Why are you taking Why are you taking
Beautiful. 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 Thank you so much. Thank you, Titus. Thank you, Ayanda. So their actors, I'm sorry, I know that sometimes I'm sure with network, you may not have heard everything that clearly, but the line was, you know what happened, right? So that was the line, you know what happened. And then Titus translated it, right? And my first offer to him was to accuse. And immediately when I said to accuse, I could see, right? There was the thinking. He was taking in that thinking, and he was clarifying for himself that this person, I know this person. I know this person knows what happened, right? So there was a very, very direct, use of the line, right? Then I said to Titus to test. Right? So suddenly, right, you could see the body language kind of changes, because now, like, I think he knows what happened, or she knows what happened. And maybe I've got to tread quite carefully here, because right? So then there was a whole different behavior, and the way in which the line was said and the whole atmosphere around the line was very, very different. And then, of course, you saw, right, to share a joke, right, which is like, you know what happened, right? And so that changed it completely. So what you're seeing there, actors, is our ability to take a detailed thought and to shift that thought by committing to the thought, and then that thought is propelled into the behavior, right, into the do part of the line. And again, actors, I say this is a tool to assist the actor, because we're always working with words on a page, right? We're always faced with this. So you want to enrich your texts, actors. You want to be able to get underneath those texts and start to understand them. And so the tool offers up play a little bit, gather the detail, and exercise your ability to make creative choices and see where the choices take you, right? And work with your gut, like Stella Adler says, right? In your talent, is your ability to make choices, right? And then actors, the feel part. So I know that I've got to monitor my time here, so I'm going to move quickly into the feel part. Actors, I want to encourage you that I know actors are asked for emotion on demand. We're asked to, let's deliver that emotion right now, okay? So, but actors, instead of chasing the emotion, I want you to think about, think, do, feel. Here, this tool suggests that if you find the detailed thinking starts to create detailed imagining, right? Once you have created that process happening, you will commit to that thinking. You will commit to the character's need to win this battle because I've got a little person to save, right? The need to cut you down, the need to do whatever it is I've got to do. You will commit to that because it feels detailed and clear. And the more that you're able to visualize imaginatively, you will commit to those choices, body, mind, heart, and soul, right? And the thinking is that the actor's engagement with that thinking, by creating that channel, you start to commit emotionally, right? When you're angry, actors, I'm just going to use that as an example, right? When you're angry, so just think about, a moment where you might have been angry, or after this, reflect on this. When you're angry, you're not caught up with being angry, with feeling angry, right? You're caught up with the cause, situation, or the person, or the thing, right, that has made you angry, right? And I'm going to suggest, actors, that's your thinking, right? Connect with the thinking, right? What is it that's making this character so angry? Is it the situation? Is it, right? Is it what that other character said? Is it the way that the character just said it? What is it, right? That's the thinking. Once you connect with that thinking, that thinking will drive your behavior and opens your emotional channels, right? So that you are engaging with your emotion through a detailed channel of understanding, rather than having to kind of play or kind of show a sort of a display of emotion, which is always tricky, actors, because like I said, every character is unique. Each character is their own person, right? So the way one character is going to feel anger is very different to the way another one might feel anger, right? Somebody might shout, another one might control it and pinch it, right? Another one might cry. Another, there's so many options, right? So that's when I say the thinking, you want to activate and stimulate that thinking, because it is in that thinking that you will commit to the channel, and that's the heat of the emotion, right? So the method teaches actors will suggest that emotion is about working with the thinking. It's committing to what the character wants to do here, right? It's active, conscious engagement, rather than feeling like you've got to play the emotion from the outside, right? And of course, actors, I'm going to say that a state of being is not easily actable, right? A detailed thought is possible for the actor. It gives the actor possibilities. That's what you saw, right? Even in those two little examples, right? The actors went straight because they had a detailed thought to work with and to engage with. So I say that, actors, to say that, as you know, our actor craft is often such that we have to recall action, meaning we've got to do the take again and again and again and again. Often nothing to do with anything that the actor's doing wrong, but because story is a teamwork. Story is a collaboration of many, right? And the actor's contribution is their contribution to this team of story. So sometimes, right, yeah, the camera needs it on the wide and then closer and closer, or there are other things going on. And so the actor is asked to recall and replay that action. And I want to suggest, actors, that detailed thinking will constantly support you. Because if you go back to, oh, right, this character is, I know, I'm going to accuse her because I know she did it. I have the evidence, right? You return to that thinking, and that helps you cross that bridge in your understanding between you, actor and character, right? As opposed to, I better be careful here because I'm not quite sure if she knows, but I kind of think she does, right? I'm just using that as an example. So, actors, I offer this up to you as a tool. As I say, I know I've had to move fairly swiftly and intensively through this idea. But as I said to you at the beginning, it's a tool intended for your actor toolbox, which you can work with and play and exercise, right? The more that you exercise, actors, it grows your confidence. It grows your confidence to be able to make detailed choices, right? And actors, I want you to know, I know that we are at the end of the session, so I've got to just finish just to say, actors, that the rewards, right, of the hours spent researching your scripts, right, and understanding and trying to get an inside knowledge of the material, right, trying to get the character's internal logic, that will support you, right, and it will support you in your work in character. So, actors, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you again to Actor Spaces, to the Gauteng Film Commission, and to Tasha Smith and her Actors Workshop for allowing us to gather as actors. I encourage you during this time, actors, keep working. This time will pass. And remember to breathe. Okay, so even if actors, for those actors that joined a session a little bit late and might not have met the breath, ask a colleague, and or, yeah, I encourage you to keep breathing deep, right? So I think I'm kind of on time. I think I'm almost there.
You're almost there. Thank you so much, Camilla. You're so amazing. Thank you so much. I just go so zoned into the class now. I think if you don't mind, just to take a couple of questions, if that's fine with you. I see a lot of people are raising their hands.
Pleasure.
Cool stuff.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Well done.
So I'm just going to select you and promote you to panelist. If you're going to ask a question, I think we've got Bayanda. Bayanda, do you mind asking your question? Hi, Bayanda. Okay, Bayanda won't speak. We can move to the next one.
I'm so sorry that I don't hear.
Yeah.
If somebody else hears, that's...
I'm not hearing as well. Okay, I think I can read out. If anyone can type your questions down, then we can just read them out to Camilla. So we've got one here from an anonymous